If you speak 2 languages, you are bilingual. If you speak 3 languages, you're trilingual. But what if you only speak 1 language? Then you are American. If you are from the US of A, then you've probably heard this friendly tease sometime in your life. Why is it that most Americans are monolingual? But why is the world trending towards multilingualism? Hi everyone, welcome back to part 2 of the videocast series at LinguaDiscovery. My name is Josh, and today we shall explore the topic of American monolingualism. What's the official language of the United States? A response by most Americans to this question would be, of course, English. However, interestingly enough, the US actually does not have an official language designated at the federal level. English is typically used at both the federal and the state levels, in education and public administration. Then, how many Americans speak a second language? The US Census Bureau reports in 2024 that 21.6% of Americans speak a language other than English at home. That equates to about 1 in 5 adults. Compared to many other regions throughout the world, especially India or Europe, this number is astonishingly low. What accounts for this figure? If you went through or are currently going through the American public school system, you've probably been required to take a foreign language class or two. The vast majority of students choose Spanish, learn basic phrases like hola or como estás, and call it a day. Many grow up speaking fluent English and English only. To explain this phenomenon, we will have to go back to good old Britain. When the initial 13 colonies officially broke off from Britain and gained their independence in 1776, the vast majority of the population spoke English, since they originated from the British Isles, England, Ireland, Scotland, etc. English was used predominantly as the language of business and commerce, daily life, and church service. As a destination that is popular for immigration, the United States has seen influxes of immigrants from various regions around the world. Yet as the country grew, this sort of melting pot culture developed. Contrasted with its neighbor Canada, who resembles more of a mosaic where individuals retain their original culture despite being in this larger community, the cultural environment in the United States sort of forced the new immigrants to accommodate the existing linguistic environment. The English language was used as a medium to make people American and fully adapt to this new society. As a result, you can see these phenomena of language attrition and language shift within immigrant communities such as Chinatown. Under external pressure, language environment and education policies, even if your native tongue was Chinese, you'd slowly start to lose some of it. This is referred to as language attrition. Over extensive periods of time, we began to notice language shift in these communities, where the predominant language used in households or daily life starts to shift from the immigrant language to the predominant English. Now, back to the topic of education. The way that a foreign language is taught in public schools is simply horrendous. Consider the following for a moment. How did you learn your native tongue? Did you sit down and conjugate verbs over and over again? Did you sit and stare at your endless vocabulary sheet for hours, trying to remember all the new words? The answer to these questions is obviously no. The way that foreign languages are taught in public schools and the way that we acquire our first language is drastically different. The most effective way, proven by your childhood experience and language education experts, is to immerse yourself in a particular language environment, accompanied by occasional corrections to vocabulary or grammar in order to steer you in the right path. This connects to the broader theme of English being used as the default lingua franca in the world as well. Clearly, the saying "the sun never sets on the British Empire" is true. Former British colonies such as Canada, India, Hong Kong, and Australia continue to use English today. The global environment promotes the use of English, and people in the US just don't see the worth or need of learning a second language, if English is sufficient in the majority of the world. Why learn a new language if English is virtually used everywhere? You really can't force someone to do something that they truly don't believe in. Of course, there are exceptions to this pattern. The COVID-19 pandemic that started in 2020 isolated many Americans at home. One of the most popular activities to kill time is to acquire a new skill. As well, increasing interest in anime and K-pop fostered a magnificent growth in learners who were willing to take on Japanese and Korean. Of course, did these people really achieve a great degree of fluency? I don't think so, since they're just learning it for fun. Coming back to geography, If we examine a unique case of Europe, you can drive for an hour or two and be in a completely different country. Each sovereign state has their designated official language or languages. If you only speak one language, you'll encounter many problems during your travels. As such, many Europeans achieve mastery in at least 2 to 3 languages, sometimes even 4 to 5 if they're good. The situation in the US does not lead to this type of environment. You can drive for 5 hours and still be in good old Texas. There's no need for an American to learn a new language if English suffices. What about Native American languages such as Cherokee or Navajo, you say? The truth is, due to widespread colonization when America was expanding westward according to the belief of a manifest destiny, many native populations were wiped out. Numbers dwindled drastically, and the descendants today of their native ancestors have long been assimilated into the mainstream American culture. Language shift has occurred, and they have lost their ancestral languages. The linguistic environment in contemporary America has become homogenized. The aforementioned factors all contribute to this why learn a new language mentality that many Americans possess today. Coming from a personal experience, although I myself am Canadian, I have plenty of American friends. For those who didn't know, Canada has 2 official languages, English and French. As such, I studied French for about 3 years in high school, and due to my genuine interest for the language, I continue to refine my French abilities to this day. When my American friend heard about this, she was genuinely puzzled. To her, she didn't understand why I bothered to learn French anyways. According to her, she traveled to Paris and got by with English perfectly fine. I doubt this narrative. After a thorough discussion of the major factors that contribute to the unique American experience today, we should tackle the following question: why learn a new language? Due to rapid commercialization and globalization, nations around the world are now more connected than ever. Learning a foreign language can just be for fun, but it can also give you more of an advantage in the workforce. A 2014 study by the Coalition for International Education revealed that nearly 40% of businesses fail to reach their international potential due to language barriers. In the job market, candidates that demonstrate fluency in multiple languages often have a greater advantage over their competitors. If you still are a student, learning a foreign language can greatly increase your brain capacity and help with cognitive processes, especially in disciplines that require extensive memorization, such as biology, history, and comparative politics. Learning a new language trains your brain to adapt to the style of thinking, encouraging greater success in your academics. For introverts, I am also an introvert by the way, learning a language forces you to develop social skills. How does that work? Modern language education experts generally agree on 4 major parts to learning a language: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. You cannot develop speaking skills if you don't try to use it, but given the situation in the United States, this ultimately forces the language learner to go out and actively seek speakers of that language in order to gain some practice. That's where you develop your social skills. What about seniors? They don't need to study for exams or try to find a job. Why would they learn a new language? Studies have shown that learning a new language enables seniors to effectively resist neurological disorders by constantly training their brain to take in new information. In the future, perhaps this situation will change as we continue to tackle issues regarding language and cultural education. Governments will need to allocate more funding towards second language education in public schools, emphasizing the benefits that learning a second language would bring. Thanks for watching this video. Feel free to leave a comment below if you are interested, and I hope to see you next time at LinguaDiscovery.